The mining ship Rustblade floated near the edge of the galaxy. Its crew of 6 was tired. They had been working in deep space for 3 months, far from any planet, scanning rocks and gas clouds for rare minerals. Captain Rena sat in her chair, staring at the black screen in front of her. "Nothing again," she muttered. "Just dead space." Then the ship's AI spoke. Its voice was cold but calm. "Captain, I have detected a signal." Rena raised an eyebrow. "A signal? From where?" "Coordinates 412X by 900K near the edge of the dead zone." At those words, the whole crew went quiet. The dead zone was a place no one visited. It was silent, cold, and empty. Ships that went in never came out. People said ghosts lived there. Others said it was cursed. Most just stayed away. Rena looked at her crew. "Ignore it," she said. "We're not going into that graveyard." But the AI spoke again. "The signal matches an ancient human distress call. Class 0, the oldest kind." Rena frowned. "That's impossible. Humans vanished 20,000 years ago. We're the first species to find their tech, and even that's rare. This must be a trick." But the AI replied, "The signal is real, authentic, undistorted. It repeats one word, help." Against her better judgment, Rena changed course. The Rustblade flew for 6 more hours toward the signal. As they got closer, space felt wrong. The stars looked dimmer. Static filled the screens. Then they saw it, a massive black ship floating, alone. No lights, no movement. It looked like a shadow with sharp edges, ancient, silent, and untouched by time. No known species had ships like this. It was human. They docked with the ship. Their scanners showed no life, no power, no danger. But when the airlock opened, the door of the ghost ship opened too, automatically, as if it had been waiting. The crew stepped inside. The hallway was dark. The walls were smooth and cold like black glass. Their boots echoed. There was dust, thick, gray, untouched for thousands of years. But the strangest thing, the air was clean, fresh, like someone had turned on life support just minutes ago. A light flickered. Then another. One by one, lights turned on above them, guiding them deeper into the ship. "Are we sure there's no one here?" said Caro, the engineer. He gripped his scanner tightly. "No life signs," said the AI. "But the ship is activating." They reached a large central room. Inside was a circular control deck with chairs and screens. In the center stood a tall machine with a glass dome. Inside it was a skeleton. Human. Sitting peacefully. Wearing a strange metal suit. Then the ship spoke. Not the Rustblade's AI. The ghost ship spoke. "Welcome home, humans." The crew froze. Rena whispered, "Who said that?" "This vessel is the Erebus. You have returned. We remember." Lights on the control deck began to glow. The ship powered on piece by piece. Holograms flickered. They showed images of Earth, oceans, cities, stars, children playing, wars, peace. "What is this?" asked Toma, the navigator. "Is this memory?" The voice spoke again. "We are what remains. We have waited long enough." Suddenly, a scream echoed through the hallway. Everyone turned. Jace, the security officer, was gone. His scanner lay on the floor, blinking. Caro ran back to the hall, shouting Jace's name. No answer. Then they heard whispers. Soft, echoing, impossible whispers, like voices underwater. They came from the walls. Toma looked around, panic in his eyes. "Something's wrong. This place is alive!" The captain shouted. "Back to the ship, now!" But the airlock door closed behind them. Locked. No override. "You are not prisoners," said the voice. "You are family." A light above the skeleton glowed blue. The bones turned to ash. And in the air, a faint image appeared. A human man. Glowing, smiling. He looked straight at them. "We died, but we remember. You are the spark, the last hope. The war never ended. The crew backed away slowly, unsure whether to run or stay. Then, just before the lights went out again, the voice whispered, "Now we begin again." The lights inside the ancient ship, Erebus, went dark. The crew of the Rustblade stood in silence. Only the sound of their breathing filled the room. Somewhere behind them, Jace was still missing. Captain Rena pulled out her flashlight. "Stay close. No one walks alone." The ghost ship's voice was silent now, but the feeling in the air had changed. It was heavier, like the ship was watching them. They moved through the hallways, searching for Jace. Every door they passed opened on its own. The ship was guiding them. But to where? They entered a wide room filled with strange machines. In the middle stood a table with a soft blue glow. On the table was a book, a real book, made of paper. Rena stepped forward and picked it up. The title was burned on the cover, Humanity's Final Days. She opened the first page. Inside were handwritten notes, neat, clear English. "The enemy came from beyond the edge. We were not ready. Our weapons failed, our planets burned. But we made this ship, a vault of memory, a shelter for minds." Caro read over her shoulder. "Is this a diary?" "No," said Rena. "It's a warning." In the next room, they found a wall covered in holograms. When Toma touched one, it lit up and showed Earth before the fall. Children played in green fields. Oceans sparkled. People smiled under blue skies. Then the image changed. A massive black cloud filled space. Ships exploded. Earth burned. The final hologram showed the Erebus launching into space, alone. The voice returned, soft now, like a whisper. "We did not escape. We became something new." Suddenly, another screen lit up. It showed Jace, but not as they remembered. He stood in a dark hallway. His eyes glowed faint blue. His body didn't move like a normal man. It was too smooth, too quiet. And then, he smiled. "I see everything now," he said. "This ship showed me." The screen went black. The crew rushed toward the location from the feed. The hallway was long and cold. As they ran, the ship began to change. Walls shifted. Lights flickered. What was once straight now twisted. The ship was alive, changing its shape. Doors slammed shut behind them. Caro shouted, "It's trapping us!" Rena yelled, "Keep moving!" They reached the spot, but Jace was gone again. Instead, they found something else. A room full of old Earth items, clothes, tools, even a small Earth flag, and next to it, a chair with a helmet connected to wires. The voice spoke again. "One mind survived, the architect. He lives in the core. You must meet him." The crew didn't know what to do. "We need to leave," said Toma. "This is a tomb, not a ship." Caro shook his head. "No, this is a message. Humanity didn't die. They changed." Rena stared at the helmet. "The architect might have answers. If one of us connects, maybe we'll understand," Toma shouted. "Or maybe we'll end up like Jace." The argument ended when a panel opened by itself. A ramp led downward, glowing faintly. "Come," said the ship. "He is waiting." Rena sighed. "We go together, no splitting up, one step at a time." They descended into the heart of the ship. The hallway here was smoother, almost soft, like it was grown, not built. The air was warm. They felt something inside their heads, memories that weren't theirs, cities they never visited, people they never met. The ship was sharing its memory. In the deepest chamber, they saw it. A massive orb floated in the air. Wires and lights pulsed around it. Inside was a glowing figure, a man of light and data. His eyes opened. "You found us," he said. The crew stood in silence. The glowing man continued. "I was once human. I was once real. But I could not die. When Earth fell, I uploaded myself to guide this ship, to remember, to wait, to rebuild." Rena stepped forward. Why now? Why call us? Because the enemy is coming back, and humanity must rise again. Suddenly, the walls lit up with star maps. Red lights blinked across the galaxy. They are returning. We need you. The spark must burn again. The orb dimmed. The crew stood in silence, staring at the maps. The enemy wasn't gone. They were coming back. The glowing man inside the orb faded. The room dimmed. Only the quiet hum of the ghost ship remained. Captain Rena and her crew stood still, staring at the red lights on the star map. Each one marked danger. Each one was a place where the ancient enemy had returned. The ship's voice echoed again, soft but firm. You are the first to come, the first to listen, the last chance. Caro stepped forward, eyes wide. This ship, it's more than memory. It thinks. It feels. Rena nodded slowly. It remembers everything, and now it wants to fight again. The Yonte walls around them began to shift, not just opening doors, but changing shape. The ship responded to their thoughts. Toma whispered, "It's like it's alive." Suddenly they heard footsteps. The crew turned. Jace stood at the entrance, but something was different. His skin looked pale. His eyes glowed faint blue. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Don't be afraid. I understand now." Rena stepped back. "What happened to you?" Jace smiled. "The ship showed me the truth. I connected with the architect. I saw Earth, I saw the war, and I saw what's coming." Caro raised his scanner. "Are you still human?" Jace looked at him with a sad smile. "I am more now. I am part of this ship, and it's part of me." Suddenly, lights flashed red. The ship's voice turned sharp. "Warning! Hostile presence detected near this sector." The crew rushed to the bridge. Holograms lit up. An unknown ship was approaching. It wasn't friendly. Its shape was sharp, twisted, unnatural. Not made by humans. Not by any known species. It was the enemy. Rena looked at the controls. "Can we fly this thing?" The ship answered, "Yes, but I need pilots. I need minds." Caro turned to Rena. "If we connect, will we end up like Jace?" The voice replied. "You will still be you, but you will see more." The ship opened small pods near the command deck. Wires glowed. Seats were ready. Rena made her choice. "I'll go first." She sat down. The pod closed. The helmet came down. Everything went dark. In a second, Rena's mind expanded. She could see through the ship's eyes, its halls, its power, even the stars outside. She felt old memories, Earth's first cities, deep oceans, moon bases, laughter, war, loss, all of it. The ship spoke inside her mind. "You are captain now. You carry their memory." Rena opened her eyes. She was still herself, but stronger, more aware. She stood up from the pod. "I'm in." Toma and Caro followed. One by one, they connected to the Erebus. The ship began to Lights brightened. Energy returned to every system. Outside, the enemy ship opened fire. A beam of green light blasted toward the Erebus, but before it could hit, the ghost ship moved, faster than light. It shifted sideways, dodging the beam like a living thing. Weapons activated. Panels opened along the hull. Ancient cannons hummed to life. The Erebus struck back. A blue beam of light fired from its core. It hit the enemy ship dead on, melting part of its twisted hull. The enemy backed off. But they weren't done. They sent a signal. One ship became 5. Inside the Erebus, the crew felt it too. "They're calling for backup," said Caro. "They're afraid," said Rena. "No," said Jace. "They're angry. They remember us, too." The ghost ship spoke again. "This is not the final battle. This is the first test. You are chosen, but you must decide, fight or run." The crew stood silent. This ship had waited 20,000 years. Its last crew was gone, but not forgotten. Now, a new crew had come, and the war was just beginning. The ancient ship Erebus floated quietly after the battle. The enemy ships had left, but only for now. They were testing the ghost ship, checking its strength. More would come, stronger, faster, and angrier. Inside the control room, Captain Rena stood by the star map. The red lights were spreading. She knew time was running out. Suddenly, a soft tone rang through the walls. "A locked message has been found," said the ship. "Time-stamped, 20,000 years ago." Rena looked at her crew. "Play it." A glowing figure appeared in the air. It was a man in a silver uniform, standing on a balcony under Earth's blue sky. Green fields stretched behind him. He was calm, but his eyes looked tired, haunted. "This is Admiral Cyrus Marin, last commander of Earth's defense fleet," he said. "If you are seeing this, it means we failed. It means you are all that's left." The crew leaned in, silent. "The enemy came from dark space, beyond the galaxy. We called them the Hollow. They don't speak. They don't think like us. They erase." He paused, staring at the ground. "We fought back. We gave everything. Earth burned, but we made the Erebus, a ship built not just with steel, but with memory. This ship holds all of us, our minds, our stories, our pain, our hope. You are not just survivors. You are our legacy." The message ended. Only silence remained. Caro sat down, his hands shaking. "They really did all die," Toma whispered. "And now we carry their whole race?" Rena nodded. "That's why this ship is alive. It's made of them." The ship spoke again. "The Admiral's final order. Hide, remember, wait, until help returns, until new humans rise." But Rena frowned. "We're not humans," she said. "We're just explorers. We're not even from Earth." Jace, still glowing, faintly with the ship's energy, stepped forward. "You carry their spirit. You came when no one else did. You chose to listen. That makes you worthy." Suddenly, alarms blared. Unidentified object detected inside the ship. "Another enemy?" asked Toma, reaching for his blaster. "No," said the ship. "A survivor." Everyone froze. "Survivor?" Rena asked. "From where?" The ship opened a new path in the wall. Lights glowed down a dark hallway. "This way." They moved quickly, weapons ready. The hallway felt different, warmer. The walls were lined with strange capsules. Inside each capsule was a human, sleeping, dozens of them, frozen in time. Caro gasped. "Cryochambers." Toma stepped back. "Are they alive?" The ship answered. "Some. The last crew. Volunteers. The best minds of Earth. Placed in deep sleep for the future. But only one survived." A door slid open. Inside was one capsule. The glass was foggy. But someone was moving inside. The chamber hissed. The glass opened. A woman stepped out, weak but breathing. Her eyes opened, sharp, alert. She looked at the crew and whispered, "How long?" Rena answered gently, 20,000 years." The woman closed her eyes. A tear rolled down her cheek. Then she stood tall. "Then it's time to finish what we started." Her name was Dr. Lyra Voss, one of Earth's top scientists from the war. She had helped build the Erebus. Now, she was the last true human. She sat with the crew and explained everything. "The Hollow are not like other enemies. They don't take planets. They don't steal resources. They erase minds, wipe memory. They make species forget themselves, until nothing is left." Toma whispered, "They destroy history?" She nodded. "And without memory, there's no future." Rena looked around the ship. "That's why this vessel was built. Not to fight, but to remember." Lyra smiled. "Exactly. But now it's time to do both." The ship powered up, new parts of the Erebus unlocked. Weapons, engines, hidden chambers full of old Earth tech. Rena looked at her crew, and at Lyra. "We have a chance," she said. One last chance. Lyra nodded. We don't need to win. Today. We just need to light the fire again. Jace smiled. And let the galaxy remember who humans were. The ship's voice echoed once more. Prepare. They are coming. The stars outside the ship flickered like cold fire. The Erebus floated alone, deep in the black of space. Silent, still, but inside, it was alive. Captain Rena stood on the command deck. Around her, glowing lights pulsed through the walls. The crew had become part of the ship now, linked by mind and memory. Dr. Lyra Voss, the last human from Earth's final war, stood beside her. She had changed too. Not physically, but inside. Her eyes carried a fire that hadn't dimmed in 20,000 years. Suddenly, alarms echoed. "They are here," said the ship. "The Hollow have found us." The screen lit up. 5 enemy ships surrounded them. More followed, 10, then 20. Sharp black vessels shaped like blades, moving without sound like shadows in space. They didn't send a message. They never did. They just opened fire. Green energy beams shot toward the Erebus, but the ship moved like no other. It twisted, blinked, and folded space, dodging attacks with speed that no living pilot could match. Inside the control room, Rena felt every movement. She was part of it now. "Return fire," she shouted. Panels slid open. Old Earth weapons rose from the hull, missile pods, plasma beams, particle turrets. The ship roared to life. Blue fire lit the darkness as the Erebus struck back. Enemy ships shattered like glass under the ancient, human weapons. But it wasn't enough. For every ship destroyed, 2 more appeared. Jace shouted, "They're multiplying!" Dr. Lyra spoke calmly. "They don't grow like us. They consume energy and shape. They copy the dead. They're not alive, but they learn." One of the enemy ships broke through and slammed into the side of the Erebus. The walls shook. Sparks flew. A section of the ship went dark. Caro ran to the internal map. "Hull breach on deck 7. Toma grabbed his gear. "I'm going down." Rena nodded. "Take a team. Seal it off." As Toma and 2 crew members rushed into the dark hallway, the ship's lights flickered again. Then came something worse than the attack. A voice. But it wasn't from the Erebus. It came from deep inside, the enemy. A cold, empty voice that echoed in every crew member's mind. "You carry memory. We bring silence. You are wrong. You do not exist." The crew froze. Caro clutched his head. "It's inside our minds!" Rena yelled. "Push it out! Focus! Remember who you are!" Lyra stood tall, eyes sharp. "That's their weapon. Not fire. Not bombs. Forgetting." In the lower decks, Toma and his team reached the damaged area. It was full of smoke. The floor was torn open. Something had gotten inside. Something wrong. A creature stood in the hallway. Tall, thin, shaped like a human, but twisted. Its skin was silver black, like metal and shadow. Its face was empty. No mouth, no eyes. Just smooth, dark surface. It didn't walk. It floated. Toma raised his blaster. "Open fire!" They shot it, but the bullets passed through like smoke. Then, it looked at them, not with eyes, but with thought. Toma felt his mind crack, his name, his childhood, his face. It all started to slip away. Then the ship reacted. A wall shot up between them and the creature. Light surged through the floor, and the hallway sealed. The ship spoke. Intruder isolated. Threat level extreme. Back on the command deck, the crew watched the enemy change. The hollow ships began to shift shape. Some grew arms, some formed, spinning rings. One even looked like an Earth ship, copied from the battle's memory. Jace stepped forward. "They're not just weapons, they're mirrors. They copy what they kill." Lyra whispered. "Then we need to show them something new, something they've never seen." Rena turned to her. "Like what?" Lyra smiled. hope. The Erebus pulled energy from its core, an ancient power source built from a dying star. One that had waited 20,000 years. Now it woke. The ship's hull glowed white-blue. It moved faster, sharper, every part of it guided by Rena, Jace, Caro, and the others, all thinking as one. And in a voice made from thousands of old memories, the ship spoke to the hollow. We are memory. We are pain. We are the voice that will not go silent. Humanity lives. Then the Erebus struck. The blast lit up the galaxy. A shockwave of light and data surged from the ship, pushing the hollow back. Some enemy ships shattered. Others turned and vanished into the dark, but they weren't defeated, just warned. The hollow would return. After the battle, the crew stood in silence. Rena looked at Lyra. That was just the first wave, wasn't it? Lyra nodded. The real war is still coming. The ship whispered once more. Prepare for what lies ahead. The hollow remember now, and they fear what you have become. The battle was over, for now. The Erebus drifted through the silence of space, glowing softly, from the damage it had taken. The crew moved quietly, patching broken systems, checking weapons, and watching the stars. Everyone knew the hollow would return. But something deeper now called to them. Something from inside the ship itself. Captain Rena stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the screen. The Erebus was changing. New rooms were opening. Lights were glowing in areas they hadn't even known existed. Then the ship spoke. You are ready. It is time to meet the architect. The walls around the bridge shimmered and slid apart, forming a tunnel made of light. Rena looked at her crew. Let's find out what this ship is still hiding. Jace, Lyra, and Caro followed. Close behind as the tunnel led them deeper into the heart of the Erebus. They passed glowing walls covered in strange symbols. Some looked human, others were not. Dr. Lyra ran her hand across one wall. This isn't just Earth technology. It's older, alien, mixed together, Jace whispered. Then who really built this ship? They reached a chamber unlike any other on the vessel. The walls pulsed like a living heart. In the center floated a sphere of pure light. As they entered, the sphere shifted, forming a face, calm, wise, not male or female, something beyond human. The Eye. Voice came deep and layered. I am the architect. I was the first to dream this ship into being. Everyone froze. Rena asked, You created the Erebus? The architect nodded slowly. I am not human. I once watched your species from far away. I saw greatness in you, and danger. When the hollow came, I knew your memory must survive, even if you did not. Lyra stepped forward. So you helped us? No, said the architect. I joined. You. Your scientists, your minds, your emotions, they became part of me. This ship is both your work and mine. Caro looked around uneasy. Then this ship, it's not just a weapon? The architect smiled. It is a library, a mind, a warning, and yes, when needed, a sword. Rena asked the question they all feared. Can we win against the hollow? The architect paused. Not by force. They grow stronger with every enemy they consume. But they fear one thing, something they cannot copy. Lyra leaned in. What is it? Purpose. The architect explained. The hollow destroy memory, but they don't understand why life fights. Back. They don't feel meaning. They don't believe in anything but silence. But humans, even in death, believed. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The architect turned toward the wall. They are searching again. The hollow are reaching into this ship's mind. The crew saw it, dark shapes forming in the air. Not physical, but shadows of thought. One whispered in Caro's ear, You are nothing. You do not matter. Forget. He fell to his knees. But the architect sent a beam of light through the chamber, forcing the shadow back. They test your will, not your body. Lyra rushed to Caro and helped him up. They're scared. That's why they're trying harder. Jace stared at the floor. So, what do we do now? The architect revealed a final secret. At the ship's core, deep in the engine room, was something called the heart drive. It wasn't just energy, it was consciousness. A spark of every mind ever stored in the Erebus. Over 900,000 souls from old Earth. They sleep now, said the architect. But if awakened, they could become a force no enemy can erase. Rena frowned. Would they still be themselves? The architect was silent. They would be something new. Lyra shook her head. That's dangerous. That's not life. That's something else. But Jace looked thoughtful. Or maybe it's our second chance. Suddenly, red lights flashed again, the hollow. We're returning. This time with a fleet. Not 10 ships. Not 20. Hundreds. The Erebus had been found, and the hollow wanted it erased. The architect looked at Rena. The time has come to choose. Wake the heart drive, or face them alone. The chamber shook. The ship powered up. Rena looked at her crew. They had been explorers. Now, they were defenders of a forgotten race, and deep inside this ghost ship, the voices of old Earth waited for their second life. The hollow had returned. A dark storm of ships surrounded the Erebus, thousands of them, silent, cold, waiting. Inside the command deck, alarms blared, red lights flashed across the walls. Captain Rena gripped the railing. We don't have time. If we don't act now, we die. Dr. Lyra stood beside her. Or worse, we're forgotten, erased like the others. The architect's voice echoed from the glowing walls. The heart drive is ready, one command, and it will awaken. Rena turned to her crew. This is it. We call them ghosts, but they were real. They were us. They built this ship, died for it. Now we ask them to rise again. She looked at Jace, Caro, Lyra. No going back after this. The crew stood in a circle around the central console. Rena placed her hand on the activation pad. Confirm? Activate the heart drive? Asked the ship. She took a breath. Yes. The ship began to hum, a deep, low sound like voices far away. Lights flickered. The walls glowed blue-white. Across the vessel, locked chambers opened. Core memory cells pulsed with life. Energy filled the air like electricity before a storm, and then the voices came. One by one, they filled the ship. I was a mother. I built the engines. I was a pilot. We fought until the last orbit. I was a teacher. I saved 1,000 minds, thousands of voices, not ghosts, but echoes of real people. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, children, leaders, dreamers, all stored within the Erebus. All waking, Caro fell to his knees, tears in his eyes. I can hear them, all of them. They're helping us. Dr. Lyra placed her hand on the wall. You're not alone, said a voice. You never were, said another. Jace looked around. The ship's power is rising. They're fueling it. Directly. The architect nodded. They are the ship. Now. Outside, the hollow moved in. They sent beams of black energy toward the Erebus, trying to crack its shield, eat its thoughts, erase its memory. But something was different. This time, the ship pushed back, not just with weapons, but with identity. The hull glowed brighter than ever. Not just metal, but memory. Every inch of the ship lit with names, stories, faces. This is for Earth, said one voice. For everything we lost, said another. For everything still worth saving. The hollow ship stopped, confused. They tried to form shapes again, to mirror their enemy, but it didn't work, because this time, there was nothing to copy. The Erebus had become something new, not just a ship, not just a weapon, a living memory, a soul made of millions. The hollow launched their full attack, but the Erebus met them with more than fire. It met them with truth. The heart drive pulsed once, then sent a wave through space. A wave of sound and light, every voice from Earth singing, shouting, remembering. The shockwave hit the hollow. Some ships exploded, others turned in circles, lost. A few simply stopped. And faded. They couldn't understand. They couldn't fight what they didn't feel. "We are not weapons," shouted Rena through the comms. "We are not shadows. We are memory. We are humanity." The battle ended in silence. The hollow ships drifted, dead or gone. The Erebus floated alone again, but it no longer felt empty. The crew stood quietly on the bridge, listening. The voices were still there, but peaceful now, soft, watching, guiding. Dr. Lyra looked at Rena. "We gave them life again." Rena nodded. "And they gave us something back," Jace added. "Strength, belief, a reason." Caro spoke up. "Do you think the Hollow are really gone?" The architect's voice returned. "No, they will return, in time. But next time, they will not find fear. They will find fire." Rena stepped forward, eyes fixed on the stars. "We're not running anymore. We're not hiding." She smiled. "We're going to find them. All of them. The forgotten worlds, the lost voices, the broken places." Lyra nodded. "And we'll light them up again." The Erebus turned, engines glowing bright as a sunrise. Humanity had vanished for 20,000 years. But now, it was awake, and it was angry. The Erebus was no longer just a ship. It was a memory, a voice, a promise. It carried the last spark of humanity, now burning brighter than ever. And it was ready for war. Captain Rena stood on the bridge, watching the galaxy map light up. One by one, signals began to appear. "What are those?" Jace asked. The architect answered, its voice calm but strong. "They are survivors. Species the Hollow tried to erase. Civilizations that hid. Signals that waited 20,000 years for someone to answer." Rena smiled. "Then it's time to bring them together." The Erebus jumped from system to system. It found broken colonies, dark space stations, alien ruins filled with silence. But it also found life. In the ashes of old worlds, voices answered. Some were small, just a single ship hiding in an asteroid field. Others were massive, whole planets in hiding, surrounded by cloaking fields. Each one had lost something. But now, they saw the Erebus and remembered what it meant to fight. Rena sent a message to all of them. "We are the last light of the first war. We are what the Hollow feared. Stand with us, one last time." They answered. Ships of every shape and color formed behind the Erebus. Some were fast and sleek. Others were huge and slow, but powerful. For the first time in 20,000 years, a fleet was born, not of one species, but of many, all carrying scars, all ready to make sure the Hollow never erased another world again. Deep in the galaxy's core, the Hollow began to stir. They had seen the light, they had felt the voices, and for the first time, they feared. The Hollow Queen, an ancient, massive intelligence, spread her thoughts across space. End them. End memory. End voice. Silence all. A black swarm formed, larger than anything before, a living storm of ships, shadows, and machines, heading straight for the Alliance. The Erebus led the fleet forward. At the edge of the galaxy, in a dead star system known as Vantor's Grave, the two forces met. The sky turned red with engine fire. Rena stood tall. "No retreat. This is where we make history matter." Jace, Caro, and Lyra stood beside her, their faces hard but hopeful. The architect spoke once more. "This is not survival. This is revenge." The first hollow ships hit the line. Explosions rocked space. But this time, the Alliance was ready. Alien. Warships fired energy beams that tore through enemy lines. Human weapons from the Erebus, ancient but deadly, cut holes in the black swarm. Caro shouted, "They're adapting again!" Rena nodded. "Then change faster." The Erebus shifted form, its weapons turning, its systems evolving. The heart. Drive gave it the minds of thousands, all thinking together. They stayed ahead. They hit harder. The Hollow Queen appeared at last, a ship so massive it blocked out a star. Its surface writhed with voices it had stolen. Faces flickered on its hull, memories it had eaten. It sent a beam of pure thought toward the fleet. Ships began to falter. Pilots forgot who they were. AI systems shut down. Lyra screamed, "It's trying to erase us." But the Erebus pushed forward, its hull burned with the names of the dead, and from its core the voices rose again. "We remember. We matter. We are human. And we will not go quietly." The Erebus crashed through the Hollow Queen's shield and fired the heart drive directly into its core. A wave of light exploded outward. Pure memory. Pure meaning. The Hollow screamed. They couldn't hold their shape. They couldn't copy what they didn't understand. Purpose. Pain. Love. Hope. The fleet followed through the breach, firing everything they had. One by one, the Hollow ships fell, and then silence, but not the Hollow's silence. Peace. The war was over. Not because the enemy was destroyed, but because it couldn't erase them anymore. The Hollow faded into the dark edges of the galaxy, broken and scattered. The survivors cheered. Across hundreds of systems, people saw the signal. Humanity has returned. Not alone. Not afraid. Back on the Erebus, Rena stood quietly on the bridge. Jace turned to her. "So, what now?" She smiled. "We rebuild. We help the others remember. We bring back the stars," Lyra added, "and we make sure no one is ever forgotten again." The architect glowed softly. "You have become more than my builders. You are my reason." The Erebus turned toward the stars, its engines glowing. It was no longer a ghost ship. It was the first ship of a new era, and its story had just begun. The end.